Hello everyone. So I want to do a little short video before I go to work. So I want to ask you all, Jehovah's Witnesses, do you know the true history behind your shunning policy? Now, you Jehovah's Witnesses, I know you're shaking your head, you're smiling at me, and you're saying, oh, it's biblical to shun anyone and everyone, including your own children or your own relatives, if they're disfellowshipped or disassociated. So let me give you the history behind it, when it started and how it changed many times over the years. So I'm going to start this backwards. So from 1981, that's almost 40 years ago, until now in 2019, the Watchtowers organization practiced and taught, that's basically until now, present, that active, baptized Jehovah's Witnesses, those who want to answer at their Kingdom Hall meetings, maybe have responsibilities of being a pioneer, a ministerial servant, an elder. Maybe you want to be the mic person. Maybe you want to do public prayers, opening and closing prayers. That you cannot have any of those privileges if you are associating with someone who's disfellowshipped. And of course, 90% of the times, if a Jehovah's Witness got caught associating with that person regularly, they too would be disfellowshipped. But now, prior to 1981, that's from 1974 until 1981, the Watchtower taught all their followers that it was not biblical to shun those who are disfellowshipped. So, throughout those years, again, 1974 until 1981, all active Jehovah's Witnesses, could be pioneers, elders, ministerial servants, commenting at the meetings regularly, doing public prayers, and you can have a great relationship with those Jehovah's Witnesses who are disfellowshipped. But now, prior to 1974, that's from 1954 until 1974, that's 20 years, the Watchtower organization taught that it was biblical. They quoted, just like they've done all the other reasons, they quoted many different Watchtower literature and articles saying it's biblical. Shun, shun, shun. If you want to have a relationship with Jehovah and you want to be in this so-called new system that's coming any day now, just around the corner, shun, shun, shun. So now, let's review. From 1954 until 1974, the Watchtowers organization taught that it is biblical to shun those who are disfellowshipped. Then from 1974 until 1981, it was no longer biblical. But then in 1981 until present, in the year 2019, it was once again biblical. So we have from this teeter-totter to this, back teeter-tottering back to their old teachings. But you think that's over? No, there's not. There's one more. Now, in 1947, this is a long time ago, my mom wasn't even born yet, there was a February the 1st, 1947, Awake article in the Watchtowers organization. It's entitled, "Are You Excommunicated?" And it's only one full page, but they do a comparison of the teachings of Catholicism. They say, and I quote, in their own literature, that excommunication, which is also considered as disfellowshipped, that it is not spiritual if you practice excommunication. It also taught and said in their Awake article, it is not biblical to practice excommunication like the Catholicism taught. And most importantly, in their own Watchtower literature, it is pagan. So let's review this. The 1947, February the 1st, Awake article. It says it is not biblical, not spiritual, and you are practicing paganism if you practice excommunication. So let's review this. So in 1947, that's like over 70 years ago, the Watchtower taught saying it is not biblical, it is not spiritual, and you are practicing paganism if you practice excommunication. But then, exactly 7 years later, after the Watchtower organization said it's not biblical, you're practicing paganism, it's not spiritual, the Watchtower's organization changed their teachings to now saying, oh, now it's biblical. Now 7 years before that, it wasn't biblical, and you're practicing spiritism, or not spiritism, but paganism if you practice excommunication. But again, 7 years later, you went against your own teachings, saying it's not biblical, to now it is biblical. Then again, for 20 years, the Watchtower quoted many Watchtower articles saying it's biblical, it's biblical, it's biblical. But then they changed that in 1974, saying now again it's not biblical. So all you Jehovah's Witnesses who's been shunning those who are disfellowship, well, it's not biblical anymore. So now you could again have a great loving relationship who those are disfellowshipped. But then again in 1981, almost 40 years ago, the Watchtower organization went back the fourth time, now saying it's biblical again. So again, I'm going to very quickly review this. The Watchtower taught it's not biblical. Then they changed it, it's biblical. Then they changed it again, it's not biblical. And then they changed it again, then it's biblical. So Jehovah's Witnesses, which is it? Now, last thing I'm going to say, all you Jehovah's Witnesses, I know, again, you're shaking your head. You're saying, it's biblical. The Bible clearly says it. But you know this, and I know this. If the Watchtower did this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bang! And the Watchtower all of a sudden, right this second, told all you Jehovah's Witnesses, it is no longer biblical again. Every one of you Jehovah's Witnesses would follow what the Watchtower organization says. So my point of this is, you Jehovah's Witnesses, or should I say the Watchtower organization, truly don't know what the hell you're doing. All you do is teeter-totter back and forth. It's not biblical. It's biblical. it's not biblical. Again, you're back. It's biblical. So my point is this. I don't take crap anymore to you Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, if you know how many relatives, I'm only speaking about relatives, that shuns me. You know how many relatives, even years before I disassociated myself, that I like to call soft shun me? Just because I no longer wanted to follow and kiss ass to the Watchtowers organization. They automatically shun me. So my point of this is, do you think as a 42-year-old, if the Watchtower organization changed their teachings again, it's no longer biblical, do you think that I'm going to be open-armed and saying, oh, Mom, Dad, oh, my aunts who's been shunning me for so many decades, oh, I love you, I'm so happy the Watchtowers organization, once again, the 5th time, changed it. And I'm going to be all lovey-dovey. I'm going to look at you and say, every one of you, y'all can go straight to hell. What do you think? I'm going to be all lovey-dovey to you because the Watchtower changed it again? Uh-huh. My point is this. This Watchtower don't know what they're doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I want you all need to understand. The Watchtower is a farce. Your religion is expired. It's like if you get a pound of ground beef and you buy it, you put it in your refrigerator, you let it sit there for 2 weeks and you forgot it's in there. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, you see a little bit of mold on that ground beef. Now, are you going to eat that meat and cook it? No, because you know all of it's contaminated when there's mold around it. The Watchtowers organization, you're no different. Let me tell you why. You know, one big thing, and all us Jehovah's Witnesses and all us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses all know this all too well. We were taught all our lives, I believed it all 28 years as a Jehovah's Witness, that this generation of 1914 will not pass. That there will be Bible students born in 1914 that will survive through Armageddon. Look it up in the 1984, Can You Live Forever on a Paradise on Earth? I studied that book in 1994, right before I got baptized. There's a section where they actually say that it was Jesus who they're referring to, talking about this generation of 1914 that will never pass. It failed, and it's now overlapped. Deuteronomy 18, verse 20 and 21. The Bible clearly states in their own Silver Sword Bible, if anyone prophesies in the name of God, and in their Bible it says, in the name of Jehovah, and it fails, it is not the truth. After it says they should be killed. I'm just telling you what the Bible says. So, your failure of 1914, it failed, and it's over, and it's done. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, ground beef, you're both no different. You are rotten, and you cannot recover. Your religion is over. So, mommy dearest, you could be as bitter as you want. I don't care. I don't care. And no, I'm not gonna shut up. I've done it too many times. I've tried to shut up to make you Jehovah's Witnesses, you Jehovah's Witness relatives to be happy. You're over. It's done. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're a Jehovah's Witness, or if you're studying and you by chance see this video and you listen to it, think about it. And you know what? If you don't believe me, I could do another video and I will read quotes from what it said in the 1947, the quotes throughout the 1950s and 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and year 2000s, how they teeter-tottered back and forth. So I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day. Goodbye.